Hey y'all, I'm bringing some breaking news in for y'all, real deal. Yes, I am real deal. I'm bringing y'all some breaking news. It's on your ex-president. Mm-hmm. Yes, he found liable. I don't know what liable. I guess liable means guilty. So, with that woman, Carol, the lawsuit. Let's look at it, y'all. We've been lying the whole time.
The former president defamed her in denying her claims. At this moment, we want to connect with CBS News national correspondent Elaine Quijano, who is outside the courtroom before we even know what the verdict is. Elaine, tell us what you're hearing and seeing right now.
So, Errol and Lana, I can tell you that I was in the courtroom this morning as the judge gave the instructions to the jury. It was a lengthy set of instructions, I should point out. He began around a little bit after 10 o'clock this morning, giving those instructions, and they did not break until about 11:45. So this jury has been deliberating. It's really interesting to note for less than 3 hours so far in this civil rape trial here. E. Jean Carroll, as you said, the writer, accusing Donald Trump of raping her back in 1996 in a New York City department store dressing room. It is a claim that she says she did not go public with. She was too shaken at the time, she says. She did not report it to police and only came forward publicly in her 2019 autobiography. That is when Donald Trump denied that claim, the accusation, hence, as you say, the defamatory charge as well. Now, during the trial, Trump's defense attorney essentially questioned why it was that Carroll did not report the incident at the time to police. She said she was too shaken to do so. During the course of the trial, she presented witnesses who essentially corroborated that back in 1996, they were told by Carroll of this alleged incident in the department store dressing room. The attorney for Donald Trump, Joe Tacopina, also pressed E. Jean Carroll over the course of this trial on why she could not remember the exact date of this assault and suggested, in so many words, essentially, that she had come forward only to sell more copies of her autobiography. Now, for his part, Donald Trump has repeatedly denied these claims. He's denied even knowing who E. Jean Carroll is. And in a sworn deposition last October, he did deny attacking her. Now, we should mention as well, Donald Trump had the opportunity to appear here in court in the Southern District of New York to testify during the course of this trial. And as recently as last week, Errol and Lana had even suggested he might do that. He was overseas visiting his golf clubs in Scotland and Ireland and was asked about this and said and suggested that he may come and cut his trip short, come back to New York to testify. Ultimately, though, a Sunday deadline, an extension essentially, that the judge gave for Trump to notify the court whether he was testifying. That deadline Sunday night came and went. The former president did not appear. And so here we are now in the 3 o'clock Eastern time hour. Again, just under 3 hours it took this jury to reach its decision, which we will hear about momentarily.
Elaine, thank you for laying all of that out for our viewers. And as you mentioned, this is a civil case, not a criminal case. And part of the reason why E. Jean Carroll was able to bring this up now is because the New York State Adult Survivors Act, which essentially gives them some more time after those statutes of limitations have all run out. And I'm hoping you can explain for our viewers just a little bit more a part of what you were discussing, that there are two separate charges that she has in this civil case. One about the underlying alleged assault, that battery claim that she was raped in that dressing room, and then also that defamation claim. And tell us how how those two play into one another. And sorry, Elaine, I understand that we are going to check back in with you as we continue to follow this breaking news. It looks like E. Jean Carroll has arrived. We are waiting any moment now to hear what that decision is. We do have Rebecca Royfey on the phone. As one of our legal experts, Rebecca, talk to us about how, I was asking Elaine a little bit more about the two charges, battery and defamation, how the two different charges taking place in the span of actually, it looks like about 2 decades, how they're interrelated and how the jurors have to factor both of those in.
Sure. So the verdict in both of those cases are different, but they are related in that the defamation case relies in part on whether the jury believes the truth or falsehood of the battery case, because the thing that Trump is accused by the plaintiff of having done is lied about by denying that underlying battery.
So is it possible then for the jurors to believe that one is true, because I understand it has to be a unanimous decision by the jurors, that one of the charges that they find him guilty and they don't find him guilty on the other one, or really because of the interrelated nature of them, it has to be all or nothing?
So because of the interrelated nature of them, it really has to be all or nothing. There's no way in which he would be, well, in fact, I mean, unless there was some way in which they thought that he didn't lie, he was saying this is a matter of opinion, but really likely they come together. So if the jury believes that this battery actually happens, then they will rule that the defendant is liable in both of those cases, and if not, not.
And Rebecca, I'm just hearing a bit of distortion through the signal to you. We're going to try and address that as soon as we can. We're seeing some footage, file footage, of course, of former President Trump, and it's at least an opportunity for us to say what the former president said earlier today via his social media platform. Again, for our viewers, we're waiting to hear what the jury's decision is in the civil battery trial with E. Jean Carroll versus Trump. But before this verdict is announced, President Trump earlier today said he's waiting for this jury decision on what he describes as a false accusation. He goes on to claim that he was not allowed to speak or defend himself when, in fact, he was invited to appear in person in court. But he does say he will appeal the unconstitutional silencing of me as a candidate, no matter the outcome. So a similar message we have heard from the former president throughout this trial, but of course what the president says out loud and on social media is a part of the case itself. E. Jean Carroll making this accusation known, followed by the president saying things like, quote, "she's just not my type," which is part of E. Jean Carroll's defamation charge against former President Trump. Elaine Quijano, our national correspondent, is right where you're looking now outside the courtroom as we await the announcement of this decision, and said that this jury has only been deliberating 3 hours on these two questions. So it seems as though it did not take them too long to get to today's decision. Let's bring in our legal contributor, Jessica Levinson. As we wait for this decision, Jessica, what do you make of the 3-hour deliberation time?
Had made up its mind going in, and my guess is that the deliberation might have been on monetary damages. Now, of course, what I'm telling you is that I'm assuming that they will, in fact, find that the former president is liable, because I personally found that E. Jean Carroll's case and her attorneys were far more impressive, and I think that they really out-lawyered Trump's side at every step of the way here. But the fact that the jury went back relatively quickly, I suspect that maybe there was some discussion about certain elements. I heard you talking to Rebecca, and it is true that this is a federal civil case. So 1, you need a jury to be unanimous. 2, because it's civil, the standard here is not proof beyond a reasonable doubt, but preponderance of the evidence, except for one element of defamation, where it's clear and convincing evidence. It's a slightly higher standard when it comes to actual malice, something we've all talked about a number of times. So there might have been some discussion about that too. But again, my suspicion is that the discussion was about the amount of damages.
So I want to stick with that question, Jessica, about whether the jury could actually find that the former president is not guilty of either of these charges. We heard Trump's attorney, Joe Tacopina, say, in essence, explaining why his client did not testify, why they only played that deposition, why they were not bringing forward any witnesses.
Yeah, let me skip it and see. Let me skip it a little bit.
Jail time, if he is in fact
was not his type.
Well, she not his type now, of course. She was his type then.
He has a
they probably in each other type now.
in New York has found that Trump sexually abused and defamed E. Jean Carroll and awarded her $5 million in damages. This was a civil case there that went on for the past 2 weeks. It was a quick verdict. They just started deliberating this morning. The jury also finding that Trump did not rape Carroll, but that he is liable for battery and for defamation. Want to bring in Elaine Quijano, who is there and has been covering this trial. Elaine?
Well, Nora, it took this jury of 6 men and 3 women less than 3 hours to reach its decision against the former president of the United States, finding him liable, as you said, for sexual abuse and defamation. Now, E. Jean Carroll, the writer, had alleged that Donald Trump had raped her in a New York City department store dressing room in 1996. That is a claim that Donald Trump repeatedly denied. During the trial, Carroll had said that she was too shaken at the time to report that to police. Something that Trump's defense attorney, Joe Tacopina, had questioned. That attorney also had pressed Carroll on why she could not remember the exact date of the alleged assault, suggested that she only came forward in order to sell more copies of her autobiography.
Well, so what?
The former president had been given the opportunity to testify during this trial here, and even suggested as recently as last week that he would cut his trip overseas short in order to do that. His attorney saying in closing arguments that after the former president declined to appear, his former attorney said he has no story to tell other than denying her claim. But Nora, as you said, a surprisingly quick decision by this jury. I can tell you that the instructions to the jury this morning from the judge were quite lengthy. It was 10 questions on this verdict form that the jury had to.
A jury looking at all the facts said, no, that probably did happen. Was it rape? We have no way of knowing that for sure, but we know something bad. Something unwarranted and unwanted, unwelcome happened. And then the former president lied about it. That's the defamation part of it. Oh, and to compound the factual inaccuracies perpetuated by this former president, this morning on social media, he said he was unconstitutionally silenced in this proceeding. That is a complete lie. He was given every opportunity. The judge provided 3 more days in case the former president wanted to testify. That's not unconstitutional against all of his other.
Well, maybe the photograph is blurry, or that's Marla. Oh no, it's not. There's a little distance when it's on a video.
All right, y'all. I would just bring it up, you all in here, because the jury finds Trump liable for battery, defamation, and they reject rape claims, awards. E. Jean Carroll, the young lady that you saw in the video, with $5 million in damage. It just sounds like everybody against her. Maybe she decided to come out now. I mean, this is a situation, you know, that it's hard for, you know, for some people. Of course he might not remember her because both of them older now. They don't look like they did when they was younger. Of course they're not gonna remember each other, you know, at the age that they are now. Y'all like, share, and subscribe, and you tell me whether or not do you think he's liable for what he's liable for. Let me know and put it in the comment section. I'm out.